All right, welcome to part 3 in our final review series. Okay, so this is going to be having to do with solving those radical equations. Okay, so solving the equations that have roots in them. Okay, so starting with one that looks like this, so part A. We know that we've got to get the square root or any root on a side by itself, and that's obviously not happening here. Okay, so we've got to do that first. First thing I would do is I would add this 1 over. Okay, use inverse operations. We've got to move the 1 first. So now I have this problem. 15 plus 1 is 16. Okay, still don't have the root by itself though. There's a 4 hanging out front. Okay, it's being multiplied right now. So to move that over, inverse operation tells me to divide it over. So this gives me the square root of x plus 2 equals 16 divided by 4 is 4. From here, I'm good to solve it. So it is a square root, which means I take both sides to that index power. In this case, it's a 2. Over here, those two signs cancel out, which is what I wanted to do. That's what I wanted to happen, okay? So then on the other side, we raise 4 to the second power. That is 4 squared, 4 times 4, which gives me 16. Okay, it's not 4 times 2. It's 4 times itself. That's what a squaring does, okay? So 4 times 4 is 16. That's how I do that. I could also just type it in my calculator, okay? From here, I just solve. Subtract the 2. X is 14, and I'm done. Okay? Next up, what happens when the roots have fractional powers? Okay, it's still a root, still got to get it by itself. So in this case, subtract the 4 over. That gives me this. And if you remember, something special happens now. Okay, so we have to take both sides to what we call the reciprocal power. Okay, we can look at 2/3 and know that that reciprocal is just flipping it over, 3 over 2 on both sides, okay? So again, on the left side, everything cancels out and just gives me what's underneath, which is what I wanted. On the right side, I take 36 to the 3/2 power. Just type that in your calculator. You don't have to know how to do that in your head, okay? But it gives me 216. But remember, since I'm taking both sides to an even denominator, that means I'm going to have 2 answers. So that means I have to do the plus or minus. That's when we take both sides to the even denominator. And think of it, if I'm taking it to an even denominator, an even amount of answers is 2, right? Okay, so that could be like a little trick that I use in my head. But how I do this from here, very simple now. I just break this apart. I don't change the sign on the left. I'm only changing it on the right for the second one. So x minus 3 is a positive 216. X minus 3 is a negative 216. And then I solve both of them. And I'm done. Okay? And then we get to one like C. Okay, remember if we take things to an odd denominator, we don't have to do that plus or minus thing. So I want you to pause the video. I want you to try to work out C. I also want you to try to work out D as well. Okay, so on C, we should have subtracted that 1 to give us this problem right here. And then we take both sides to that reciprocal power. In this case, it's 2/3, which is an odd denominator, which means I don't have to do the plus or minus thing. I literally just have to find what is 8 to the 2/3 power. And it is 4. And I solve this. My answer is 2. I'm done. Okay? And then on D, this is a cube root one. It works a lot like the first one that we did. We should have added the 5 over first. Divide by 4 second. And then, to get rid of a cube root, we take it to the index power. In this case, that's a 3. So, on this side, I end up with x plus 2. And 6 to the 3rd power is 216. Subtract 2 to give me the answer, which is 214. Okay, so that's how we do those problems. Again, if you're still not getting it, it's still not clicking, make sure we ask questions, okay? But we have a lot of practice coming up, so make sure we use this, we use these examples, we study them, and we keep practicing. Practice makes perfect, guys.